For USCFootball.com, Connor Morrissette and Chris Trevino were here on campus after USC's Tuesday practice of Illinois week. Chris, the Trojans are 4-0. Practice today. Lincoln Riley seemed to be in a really good mood afterwards. We'll get into some of his comments. More importantly, how's your mood?
Pretty good, a little tired. We have a long week ahead of us and a big road trip, obviously. But it is a beautiful day on campus. I was just talking about it before we hit record. The sky is like movie picture blue, so it was a really nice day to cover practice.
Totally agree. Let's start with some injury stuff. Okay, so we stand at the tunnel and see who comes out. Here's who did not dress today. Elijah Page, Jakeem Stewart, Brian Jackson. Those three guys remain injured, and Jakeem's the surprise there. He was in a walking boot. It was similar to what he had that first week when he didn't play. It seems like he's definitely questionable heading into this game against Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing to see, obviously, after, his career best game with the tackles for a loss, 17 snaps. Looks like he's been building momentum. So to have it halted here and going up against a Illinois offensive line that is not very good, 16 sacks allowed, 30 tackles for a loss, both worst in the Big Ten. So it would have been an opportunity for him to make some more plays on Saturday.
You mentioned the sack number being the worst in the Big Ten. It's the worst in the Power Four. No Power Four team has allowed more sacks than Illinois, and USC, of course, has a pretty good defensive line, so that looks like a mismatch on paper. Here's who did dress. Caden Chittenton, the kicker. Alex Graham came out in pads. That was for the first time since before week one. Jacoby Lane came out in pads. He didn't play against Michigan State. And Nella Tepo, the freshman tight end, he did not play last week, and he came out in pads. Jacoby Lane, I don't know if he'll play Saturday, but he definitely looked and was moving much better than we saw Saturday evening before the Michigan State game.
I'm going to be honest, I was surprised he was out there in full pads based on how he was moving but on the sideline and in warm-ups, pre-warm-ups for the Michigan State game. Even when he was celebrating on the sideline, Shotgun pointed out it couldn't raise the other shoulder, so I wasn't expecting him to be out there in full pads, maybe a catapult, but yeah, to see him out there in full pads was an encouraging sign. But again, by no means does it mean that he was full go in those walls and that he will be cleared to play this weekend. But, to be out there with full pads is a decent sign.
The most recent update we got was still Saturday on Jacoby Lane when Lincoln Riley said his injury is inconclusive. We didn't get any injury updates from Riley. He deferred to the availability report, which will come out Saturday very early before that Illinois game because it's a 9 a.m. Pacific kick. So we'll try our best to fill in some of those blanks. Jakeem Stewart's probably the biggest risk right now, but none of that is coming from the coaching staff. That's just from our eyes, and he was in the boot. Alex Graham, Chris, the fact that he's back out there is good, but he may need another week and could potentially come back after the bye week. There's a chance he could play against Illinois, but what are your thoughts?
That's a really good sign as someone, obviously, who was primed to start this season with Prophet Brown going down, and then he gets his own injury, and we have literally not seen any Alex Graham, and this is obviously the first time he has been padded up since like the middle of fall camp or that mock game week. I don't exactly remember when he actually went down, but yeah, he was primed to be a starter. He would have been kind of a young veteran at this point, with Prophet Brown down. Maybe he's been getting 4 starts, but yes, just because he's out in pads does not mean he's going to play this weekend. It would be a very tall task, one, for him to start, pick up where he left off, and 2, to do it on the road in a Big Ten game, in a top 25 matchup, in a hostile environment. That'd be a lot to throw at a true freshman. So I do not expect him to start, but the possibility of playing, yeah, I'll allow the idea that he could possibly play. But again, I kind of feel like they want to ramp him up this week, go through the bye week, and get him ready to come back post-bye week. But again, that's just, vibes right now. But again, it was a really good sign that he is back out there in pads. We don't know exactly how much he did, if he was full go, what have you. But the fact that he was getting closer is obviously a good thing and could get Kamari Ramsey back to his natural safety position. Alex Graham has the ability to obviously play nickel and was going to play nickel before he got hurt. So we can see another shift in the secondary, a stronger looking secondary potentially with his return.
Eric Gentry was out there at practice. He continues to have a huge impact this season. His shoulder is wrapped for the second consecutive week. He banged up his shoulder against Purdue, but returned to the game and did not miss any time last week. So he is playing through that minor injury right now. Tough guy. That's very good to see for USC because he's so important in that linebacking core. So I mentioned, Chris, at the top, Lincoln Riley being in a good mood. he is so confident in this year's team, and that's just really coming through here in his most recent comments. I asked him to compare the confidence, how he feels now, to that 2022 team, and he said this team this year is more talented and more capable than that team, and it's by a significant margin. I think Riley really likes what he has, and that makes me think that Illinois might be in some trouble this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, USC definitely has the confidence. You see it from the players coming out, you hear it from Lincoln Riley. You just feel this mojo around the team right now. So, yeah, they're a dangerous team. And again, Illinois could very easily come out there and be like, no, remember, we're a college football playoff team. We're a contender going into this season. We can play like that still. But again, you can't bet against USC in this game right now based on the momentum, based on how Illinois has looked through the first 4 games of the season. This is could be a real turning point game for USC in terms of the momentum, the hype, all that really starts to pick up as we enter the tough part of the schedule with Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame. You have these national games coming up, and USC winning this weekend, maybe it's by touchdown, maybe it's by 3 touchdowns, whatever it may be, USC is going to get a lot of hype in the national media. This is a big game, and they feel confident going into it. So we're going to see. I think I'm going to take USC. I think it's 6.5 point favorite there. Again, you worry a little bit facing a tougher defense with all their defensive front. Elijah Page, question mark. Jacoby Lane, question mark. But I think USC will find a way, especially with that run game, because they are running the ball really, really well right now.
That's what's so crazy. Page goes out at the beginning of the second quarter and against Michigan State, and USC didn't miss a beat on that offensive line. Jacoby Lane doesn't play at all. Jade Maiava has his best game in the Big Ten so far. He played better than he did against Purdue. Probably being at home had something to do with that, but he was still incredible, and Mekhi Lemon was awesome. They have the depth needed to overcome some of those injuries, which at the beginning of the year I didn't think that was necessarily the case. And people watching this, they might think, oh, the USC people like USC, but we try to sniff stuff out, man. If stuff doesn't pass the sniff test, we'll tell you. I don't know how you can watch what Illinois did last week against Indiana, see how bad that offensive line's been doing, the lack of explosion in their offense, compare that to what USC can do. I don't know how Illinois is going to stay in the game offensively with USC. I kind of see that happening for a few of these games where USC in this explosive offense, it's going to be really tough for opposing teams to score enough points to stay in a lot of these games. So secondary I know hasn't been great, but I understand why Riley's confident, and we look at some of the question marks that USC had heading into the year. Is Jade Maiava going to make better decisions? Well, through 4 games, he hasn't turned the ball over. Is the offensive line going to hold up? Well, their left tackle went out last game, and they were still fantastic. How's this running game going to look with some new pieces? Well, it's incredible, and Wayman Jordan was named Pro Football Focus's Offensive Player of the Week for the whole country because he broke like 8 tackles and had 143 yards after contact. He's running over everyone. Defensively, there's no way this defensive line can take the steps that everyone is expecting. Something has to go wrong. Actually, everything's going swimmingly, and Shaquille Stewart, he's hurt, but has a huge game against Michigan State, and Floyd Boucard has popped, and Kobe Pepe's doing some nice things. Keyshawn Silver, Jamal Sharon has a pick 6. The edge rushers have been amazing. Desmond Stevens is adjusting nicely. Eric Gentry is wrecking games single-handedly. Secondary leaves a little bit to be desired. That's the one weakness right now for this team, but they'll face some adversity at some point. It hasn't happened yet. Every question we had, Chris, so far has been pretty impressed, or has been answered. It's been pretty impressive.
To be fair, I thought the defensive line was going to be good. So
I thought they were going to be good too.
I'm not beefing on that.
I thought they were going to be good too, but did you expect them to be number 1 in sacks after a couple games and really that level? I thought maybe there would be someone who, okay, I'm not really seeing it. Everyone who's got out there plays really well.
Yeah, they've definitely exceeded the early expectations, and I'm just happy to see them running the ball more. That was something USC fans have been begging for, pounding the table for. It's something we've really emphasized. Where Lincoln Riley needs to run the ball more, take a little pressure off your quarterback. Thought they needed to take some pressure off Jade Maiava this season, and don't make him throw 50 times a game. And they're not. They're running the ball. They have outrun. They have run for more than they've passed these first 4 games, which is the first time that's happened in Lincoln Riley's USC era. That's the first time, and I think that is obviously we have to see it continue throughout this season. And it's only 4 games, but they're running 50%, 56% of the time. That's the highest he's had here at USC. All others have been like well under 45%, 40% last year, 43 the year before, I think 47 in 2022. So over 55%, and we'll see if he keeps going. This is going to be a tough game, I think, and there's challenges that are going to happen in this game. They have a really good edge rusher. This is going to be the biggest.
Gabe Jacas.
I love saying that name, Jacas. Gabe Jacas, potential first round, all Big Ten, All-American type guys. So this is going to be a big test for those edges in this game. If you don't have Elijah Page, Justin Taunau, Tobias Raymond, this will be a big one. This will be the best edge rusher they have by far faced this season. So I want to see how they handle that test.
And they'll face some adversity. Michigan State got back into the game against USC. That had a lot more to do with USC than Michigan State, I thought. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows, but we talked about this on Instant Analysis a little bit, Chris. After the Michigan State game, you can see the trajectory for this team, and it's just going to be really hard for opponents to keep up with them offensively. USC will play better defenses. Michigan is a good defense. Nebraska's defense looks okay. Oregon, Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame's defense looks bad right now, maybe they'll figure it out. They have a lot of talent there, so they will be tested. After what we saw last week from Illinois against Indiana, I just have a hard time, even though they'll bounce back and they'll be pissed. I get that, but I have a hard time getting them allowing over 60 points to Indiana out of my head. If Indiana could do that, it was at home, yes, but if Indiana could do that, USC should be able to move the ball and score some points.
College football is weird, man.
It's true.
I can't sit here and be like they're going to blow them out. I can't say that. So you don't know what's going to happen, but you have to feel confident. If you're a USC fan, you have to feel confident if you're Lincoln Riley, what his team is doing right now. But then in the game, you got to play the game, so we'll see.
I can say I think they're going to blow them out, and that's what I will say. We talked to a couple players today, Walker Lyons, Jaden Mayava, Makai Lemon. You heard from Wayman Jordan and Jaden Richardson. I can start with Walker Lyons. I asked him, when did you feel like the coaching staff had complete trust in you? Because he's playing a ton on offense right now, caught another touchdown against Michigan State. And he said last year at the end of the year a little bit, but earning the coach's trust earning the trust of the coaching staff is a weekly endeavor, and he's trying to do it week in and week out here. I thought that was a mature and experienced response. He's been great, though, this year, Chris, so far.
Absolutely, and the tight ends in general have been making big impact. I am making so much money off all the stock I bought in the tight ends.
You're rich.
We're going to the moon. I'm gonna buy a boat. I'm gonna buy a yacht, but I want 2 yachts, so they got to keep playing well. But no, I mean, the tight ends have finally gotten involved. This is something that we thought was going to happen much sooner in the Lincoln Riley era, but finally happening in 2025. And obviously, you got a big 5-star tight end coming next season, and Mark Bowman kind of showcase what the future is going to look like. And Adam Bowman to this room, it's only going to get better. And really happy to see Lake McCree have some success as a senior, playing the way he is. So really good story right now. With the 12 personnel and all the tight ends they've been using, and just Lincoln Riley's philosophy on them, you can do so much with a tight end. It could be an offensive lineman, it's another receiver, it could be another running back. Again, just a position that is so versatile, and obviously for a creative, offensive mastermind, he is getting the most out of the position this year.
Jaden Mayava continues to talk a lot about how he wants to put the team first, and he continued to do that today. I thought the most interesting thing from him, Chris, he was asked about the 2 running back sets where he's in the shotgun and Eli Sanders is on one side of him and Wayman Jordan is on the other side of him. And he said, that makes me feel confident, makes me feel like we can get the first down, makes me feel like we're going to go down and score. And it's hard to argue with that logic so far when USC's scoring a ridiculous amount of points, putting up a ridiculous amount of yards, and just having a lot of success on offense.
Yeah, really fun to watch. And, obviously I'm eating a little bit of crow this season because I was more down on the offense.
We both were, to be fair.
We both were, to be fair. Again, we'll see what it does against tougher defenses, but they are playing outstanding right now, and Jaden Mayava has been playing outstanding as well with those 0 turnovers. Still want to see how he handles that first bit of adversity, because he's going to throw an interception, he's going to have a turnover. It's just the nature of football. It's going to happen. So I want to see how they face that next obstacle this season, and maybe it's going to be this weekend. It's
definitely going to come at some point, as you said. Absolutely right, but so far he's been exceptional. Makai Lemon, he said he wants to let his game do the talking, and he certainly has done that so far. He leads the Big Ten in receptions and receiving yards, and he was honored with the Paul Hornung Award that goes out to the most versatile player every week in college football. Lemon got that for not only catching 8 balls for 127 yards on 8 targets and a touchdown, but he also rushed in a 4-yard score, and he had some nice kick and punt returns as well. So he's doing a little bit of everything. The more success he has, Chris, I think his NFL future just gets brighter and brighter. We'll see what the rest of the year has in store, but I'd be surprised at this point if he wasn't a high NFL draft pick in the spring.
Bolitnikoff him.
Yeah.
Do it right now. Connor was practicing how to say Paul Hornig before we recorded. I thought you did a great job. You crushed that, buddy.
Thank you very much. So that's it from the players I heard from. You heard from Wayman Jordan and Jaden Richardson. Take it away.
Talked a little bit with Jaden. Obviously, I believe he was on Trojans Live. So,
yes.
Previously had heard from him speak this week, but he was excited about stepping up and having the opportunity. Obviously, Jacoby Lane not being in, and really good story. A guy from Tufts did not play a lot, and to be honest, I didn't know how much he was actually going to play meaningful minutes here, and to see him have a starting role this week was great to see. As a small school guy, California guy, just really excited, all about being a Trojan and to have success. Came up with those 2 big catches, was so close to that touchdown, got crushed over the middle. He said, I asked him, did that hit hurt as much as it looked? He was like, it definitely woke me up, but it's just football. So yeah, they would have to be taking me out on a wheelbarrow, Connor. So, props to him for getting up on that and, having a really good game, just a steady game with his blocking, something he takes a lot of pride in. And I can imagine that's why he got the nod as a starter for this past weekend, because of the blocking. Lincoln Riley loves receivers that can block, and you're not going to get on the field if you can't block down the field, because that's what their offense calls for. That's what their offense needs. So Jaden Richardson doing the dirty things, the dirty things. I'm going to get clipped on that. The dirty work to get on the field and, get the blocks so you can get opportunities to get first down catches like he had, and that big third down catch, and just really excited to have, an impact that way.
I was blown away with what he did. It doesn't stand out in the stat sheet, the 2 catches, I think, for 23 yards, but he picked up the big third down. That was one of them. And he played over 40 snaps. He was in there a ton. He looked like he belonged. And when he speaks to his parents or his family members, I'm sure they're so proud of him, because a couple of years ago, to go from Division III to having a real role on USC against Michigan State in the Big Ten, and just doing the damn thing. What an impressive guy. Blown away by what he's able to do. It's credit to the coaching staff, too, because last year we heard, I don't really know about him, more of a practice player. Well, he's developed, and he can start in place of Jacoby Lane and not do what Jacoby Lane does, of course, but hold down the fort enough for USC to still get the win and just do his job. Like you said, he did his job really well, and another guy you can rely on, and we didn't think that was necessarily the case before the year. Finish up, Chris, with Wayman Jordan.
Waymo obviously becoming a star player, getting his national buzz. I asked him, are you starting to get recognized on campus? Sometimes that happens.
Junkyard Dog?
Junkyard Dog. He says, no, hasn't happened yet. But really humble kid and really enjoying what he's doing so far. We talked a little bit about his stance. If you notice his running back stance.
Just Ashton Genty.
The Ashton Genty. That's just how he's done it. He did it at Hutchinson, and he does it because he doesn't want to give away any tendencies, pass or run. I'm actually, glad that USC didn't try to, change anything about them. That's just the way he does it, and obviously he's having a lot of success with it. Talked a little about playing the Wildcat. As you know, Waymo used to be a quarterback, so he was like, he
did?
Yeah, he used to play quarterback, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, back in the youth leagues. And he was like, it was taking me back to my my youth football days. He was like, I was having too much fun with it. He was out there, kind of doing the Wildcat quarterback, doing the fake little clapping. He said he got a delay of game one time in practice because he was having so much fun doing it. He was like, Lincoln Riley wasn't happy with that. So he was too engrossed in playing the quarterback role. So maybe we'll see more of that this season. Maybe we'll even see a pass at some point this season. So yeah, in a big game, big moment. But Waymo definitely comfortable taking some handoffs and playing a little Wildcat.
If we do get a skill position player throwing a pass, I hope it's Mekhi Lemon, because after what he did against UCLA last year, he deserves to be the one to throw the pass, I think. Why not both, though?
Lemon to Waymo, Waymo to Lemon.
No double passes. Those have been terrible.
Against the defense, we haven't seen it with the offense, though. That's where the luck is. You need to get one on offense and then to break the curse on defense. That's what you need.
True. Well, this has been Instant Analysis after USC's Tuesday practice of Illinois week. Chris, any final thoughts?
I got none.
You and me both. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be with Riley, and then we'll be heading out to Illinois. Come to Theory Bar in Chicago Friday night. Hang out with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you then. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time.